Recording in progress.
It's 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, and I call this meeting of the Greenbelt City Council to order. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Good evening. Ms. McKinney?
Here.
Ms. Pompey?
Here.
Ms. Pope is absent. Ms. Niesel?
Here.
Mr. Roberts?
Here.
Ms. Weaver?
Here.
Mayor Jordan?
I'm here. Please join us in a moment of silent meditation as we reflect on, think about a number of Greenbelt residents that have passed since our last council meeting. Esther Robinson, Sue Marie Johnson, Henry Hank Irvin, Robin Olson, Helen White, and Lydia Carrera. Please join us in a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. I'd also like to note that this is the first day of Ramadan, the ninth month in the Islamic calendar. It's a period of prayer, fasting, charity giving, and self-accountability for Muslims in the United States, throughout the country and the world, and here in Greenbelt. So I wanted to make note of that. Councilmember Pompey, would you like to lead us in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Councilmember. So our meetings and work sessions in Greenbelt are open to the public. We welcome public comment. So at this time, we're going to pause for petitions and requests. It's an opportunity for individuals, for Greenbelters and others to make a comment or to make a request to the city administration. We ask that you limit your remarks to about 5 minutes or less. And if you could focus on one topic, it would be appreciated. And of course, civility is a very important thing here in Greenbelt and also around the world. So at this time, are there any petitions or requests? Yes, sir, please.
My apologies to all the ACE folks intruding upon what will be your time shortly. Bill Orleans, resident. I'm addressing myself tonight specifically to the three newer members of council. Although you will have heard me say this in the past, but for well more than a year, I've been raising three items, the longest one being more than a year ago, more recently a year ago, and more recently even than that, about 4 months ago. And in each of the three items that I've been raising continually over some folks' objections, I've been asking for either an apology from council or a clarification of an event that took place in this room, to which I received a response from then the interim city manager, now the assistant city manager, that was unsatisfactory to me. And so I have continued those requests, thinking that I should be satisfied. I was asking for an apology from council and asking for, most recently, maybe a projection of that segment of a work session with Ms. Denise Knight, Franklin Park, that took place a year ago, to no avail. The response I got was not satisfactory. I have continued to ask for that, even though I have made council aware that I'm not satisfied with the response I got. Beginning about 4 months ago, and it's now about 100 days, if not over 100 days, I've been asking for, from council and or city management, the title of the statute which enables Greenbelt City Council, or any other city council for that matter, to appropriate money in closed session. the presider of council likes to make clear that council's tradition is that it does not respond, nor does city management respond necessarily to petitions and requests in real time, that they might require study and some response at a further date. Of course, the rules say that within 100 days, a response will be forthcoming. I've received no response to my last request. And the reason I'm emphasizing the 3 newer members of council, I may be the only person in town, and it can be disregarded, that thinks that council has made many mistakes in the past. At some point, my continual requests will come to a head. And while you weren't on council at the time of any of these 3 things that I've continually brought up, you might think yourself not responsible, but you're on council now. And if you're satisfied to allow council to continue to insist that it doesn't have to respond to a request as to what statute enables it to appropriate our money in closed session, then you're as responsible as the ones who've been on council when this took place. So I'm restating those 3 requests tonight. I look forward to a response before I die. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other petitions or requests? Just for the record, I'd like to say that Mr. Orlean's petition has been responded to by the city manager on a number of occasions, and we just don't see eye to eye. And it's unfortunate that Mr. Orleans is not satisfied, but our legal counsel is satisfied, and council oversees the city manager and has the authority to make adjustments of the city manager's salary. So I beg council's indulgence in saying that, but that's the truth. So if there are no other petitions or requests, let's talk about the agenda, the consent agenda. Are there any modifications? And if there are no modifications to the consent agenda, could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second? I'll second. Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. And secondly, the agenda itself. Are there any additions or modifications to the agenda? And if there are none, could I please have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I move to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Very good. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. So this is a festive night tonight. The city of Greenbelt is passionate about education, and we have many city advisory committees, but one of the most important, one of many very important city advisory groups is the Advisory Committee on Education. And they do serve a very, very important function in the city. They work with the principals, with the educators and the students, and they keep council apprised of issues that are coming up in the schools. So this is a very important committee. Janet Mirsky is the chair of the Advisory Committee on Education, but I don't see her here tonight. But I do see that Robert Snyder and Stephanie Arciano, who are 2 stellar members of the Advisory Committee on Education. Welcome. It's so nice to see you here tonight. And we are actually going to hold the ACE Educators Award reception or program tonight for 2024. There are 6 Greenbelt schools: Greenbelt Elementary School, Magnolia Elementary School, Spring Hill Lake Elementary School, Greenbelt Middle School, the Dora Kennedy French Immersion School, and I believe they're having a meeting tonight, and of course, Eleanor Roosevelt High School. So I'd like to invite Stephanie and Robert, and I believe Councilmember Pompey, you're also going to assist in presenting the awards tonight. I see our county council member, Ingrid Watson, is here in the room. And one of our delegates, it's the legislative session time of the year, and our delegates and state senator love to participate in these activities, but unfortunately, they may actually be in legislative meetings this evening, voting on bills and whatnot, so they may not be able to join. But I'd like to hand the program over to Stephanie and Robert to kick things off. And Ms. Pompey, I don't know if you're going to go out and join them.
So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 29th Anniversary Committee on Education. It's the ACE Educator Awards. My name is Stephanie, and I'm a committee member, and we would like to thank Mayor Jordan and City Council for their continued sponsorship of these really special awards. ACE, formed in 1994 with an updated charter in 2007, serves as a link between the community and the City Council to promote high-quality schools in Greenbelt. Tonight, we are happy to present our ACE Educator Awards to recognize school-based adults who have made exceptional contributions. Recipients of the award may be any member of the school team. So that includes teachers, guidance counselors, other professionals like support and building staff. ACE selects the awardees based on nominations from the school's administration. The ACE Educator Awards complement the ACE Student Awards, which we will present to deserving students on Wednesday, May 1st. In recognition of the awardees' dedication to the education of the children of Greenbelt, ACE presents an engraved red and gold apple, the well-recognized symbol of excellent education, along with an ACE t-shirt that we invite them to wear while walking in the Labor Day Parade Festival in September. We also present certificates of recognition from the city, the county, and the state. I would like to ask any school administrators who are here to stand and be recognized. Is there Greenbelt Elementary? All right, nice. Spring Hill Lake Elementary, Magnolia Elementary, Dora Kennedy French Immersion, Greenbelt Middle School, and Eleanor Roosevelt High School. Well, thanks also to all of the family members, school staff, and parent-teacher organization members who are here to support the awardees. I would like to introduce the members of the Greenbelt Advisory Committee on Education. Again, my name is Stephanie Arcido, the treasurer of ACE. Mr. Robert Snyder, and former member of Mr. Robert Snyder, former educator as well, and also our former member of ACE, new to City Council, is Jenny Pompey. I'd also like to recognize Miss Liz Parks, the city staff liaison to ACE. We would not be able to function without you.
Dr. Park is actually the acting city manager right now.
Okay.
Well, for right now,
Congratulations to that.
until Mr. Samaron gets back in a couple of days.
I will ask that City Council and our distinguished guests arrange yourselves in a semicircle in the front. And when we call an awardee, just please come and stand in front of the dais right here while we describe your contributions to the school. When we finish, you will have the opportunity to say a few words if you liked. And each one of our dignitaries who has a certificate will read it to you. Each proclamation will be read just once to avoid repetition, but they may apply to each and every one of you. After reading, please make your way around the circle, shaking hands and receiving your gifts and certificates. After the presentations, we will ask awardees and elected officials to come up in front for pictures. We will also ask award winners to provide us with contact information so that we can formally invite you to the Greenbelt Labor Day Parade and the walk that we do. In order of presentation, we will be going as Greenbelt Middle School, Greenbelt Elementary, Spring Hill Lake Elementary, Dora Kennedy French Immersion, Magnolia Elementary, and last but not least, Eleanor Roosevelt High School. Okay, I would like to ask we're good? Yes, the semicircle. Perfect. All right. Okay, here we go. Our first ACE Educator Award goes to Mr. Byron Snowden of Greenbelt Middle School. Okay, so here's your write-up about you. There you go. It is a very special circumstance where you have educators who serve in the same community in which they grew up. Sometimes you hear the story of educators coming back to see the county to serve, but for Byron Snowden, he lives in the Greenbelt community. He graduated from high school in this community and now has worked in the community for 15 years, 10 of them being in the PGCPS school system. Byron Snowden can not just be looked at as a school secretary, school security, which he has been for the last 2 years at Greenbelt Middle School. He is serving in many other capacities, such as food services, industry, sports coach, mentor, after-school programming, and a family advocate to all in the Greenbelt community. Notice the key word is, because he is actively doing that now by supporting many of the youth inside and outside of Greenbelt Middle School. There have been countless stories, such as Mr. Snowden walking towards the grocery store and seeing a community member, then working to make sure that the family is supported with some information that may be very important for success. Nevertheless, this is just a piece of what Mr. Snowden is doing to help everyone impacted at Greenbelt Middle School, and no better choice for the ACE Educator Award. Congratulations, Officer Byron Snowden. Would you like to say a few words?
Thank you. I just want to thank everyone. Been in the city of Greenbelt since, we moved here in 1993. Left in 1999, came back in 2002, and I've been stuck here ever since. But for good reasons, though. I love the city and convenient, and the people is everything. It's just been great. Been in PG County, working for PG County since 2014, and been working with the city of Greenbelt since 2010, and still carrying both jobs. So I'm blessed. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. So, Byron, so in recognition of your service to the city of Greenbelt, and particularly Greenbelt Middle School, I'd like to present you with a certificate for having made a positive contribution to the education of Greenbelt's children. And this is on behalf of the Greenbelt City Council, so I'd like to present you with this. Thank you. And we've got some more things. Yeah, let's see. We've got one for the General Assembly.
Yeah.
For the next person.
I
Please,
see.
we're gonna just give this to you. So, and we've got one more from County Council Member Watson.
Appreciate you.
So seriously, thank you so much. Thank you.
Our ACE Educator Award for Greenbelt Elementary goes to Ms. Stephanie Awahawa. All right, let's learn about her. It is a grand pleasure to write just a small note of recognition of Miss Stephanie Awahawa's, affectionately known as Miss A, by both students and staff. Like many schoolhouses post-COVID, losing staff personnel due to positive promotional departures, leaving gaps in some leadership roles, have created the opportunity and great need for the best step forward. Answering the call, Miss A, without hesitation, at least not with the visible sweat, selflessly took on the giant task of both grade 4 team lead as well as school's professional development lead teacher roles with open arms in a next in line approach. She is quickly becoming Greenbelt's next great top leader. Under daily observation, Miss A has demonstrated herself to be one of the most pleasant, positive, and guiding personalities there is, and her commitment to Greenbelt Elementary School and community is second to none. Miss A is often found before the instructional day begins, surrounded by groups of students, many not even being part of her own class, huddled, attentively engaged in inquiry or sharing ideas. She can even be observed completing principal-inspired tasks even before the email request has been sent. The following two quotes reflect the feelings, emotions, and impact that staff believe when thinking of Miss A. Miss Awahawa creates a sense of community and belonging in her classroom. She is warm, accessible, enthusiastic, and caring. She is a skilled leader, professional, and a collaborator. Love her. Miss A is extremely relatable to her students. She always makes time to listen to things that they would like to share. They always want to share it. Her kids feel heard and seen by her. She is a whiz with things that they would like to share. Her kids feel heard and seen by her. She is a whiz at data collecting and intervention. She is impeccably planned and prepared. Congratulations. Would you like to say something? Oh, yeah, she's gonna come and say some words.
So I just wanted to say thank you to the administration, my colleagues. When I was a student at the University of Maryland, I did an internship at Greenbelt Elementary, and I was so in love with it that as soon as I graduated, I felt like I had to come back and try to work there right away. I love the community, the families, the staff, and it's an environment like no other. So I'm really honored that I get to work there, and every day is super special there. So thank you.
And so we have here from the Maryland General Assembly, official citation, be it hereby known to all that sincerest congratulations are offered to Stephanie Abwalhawa in recognition of receiving the Greenbelt ACE Educator Award for significantly contributing to the development of students. Thank you for your dedication and exemplary service.
Stephanie, thank you so much. Here you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I wanted to let people know that Mr. Briggs, our school board representative, has joined us here this evening.
And I want to apologize. I was actually at Door Kennedy for a very important conversation. I just got to get out of there, but I stayed an extra 2 minutes. So apologies for my lateness.
Okay. Our next ACE Educator Award winner is from Spring Hill Lake Elementary School, and that's Dr. Ivy Wilcher. She says, teaching is not only a profession, it is more of a calling and a mission. Teaching is her first love and passion. Dr. Wilcher finds joy and fulfillment going to school every day and teaching and shaping young minds and guiding them along the path of discovery. She aims to touch the lives of her students in a meaningful and profound way. Dr. Wilcher was born in the Philippines. She is a national board certified teacher and the author of a children's book, My Rainbow Dads, which promotes self-awareness, social awareness, equality, family diversity, love, respect, tolerance, and acceptance of all types of families. She is also an educational speaker, giving professional development courses here in the U.S. and abroad, as well as a teacher mentor. She currently serves as the global director of the United Federation of Filipino American Educators at the national level. Dr. Wilcher is married to Sean Michael Wilcher, and they have 2 adorable children named Jenke and Riley. Okay.
Thank you. Actually, I really prepared a thank you message to the Greenbelt Council and delegates, fellow teacher awardees, families and friends, and those who are here this evening in person and via Zoom. A great evening to all of you. I am deeply honored, humbled, and grateful to have been chosen to receive this ACE Educator Award. First of all, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to my colleagues in Spring Hill Lake Elementary School for choosing me through their votes to receive this award. Knowing that my efforts have been recognized and appreciated by my esteemed colleagues fills me with immense pride and gratitude. Yes, it is true. Teaching is not just a profession, but it is more of a mission and a calling. It is in my Spring Hill Lake family's dedication, expertise, and unwavering support that inspired me every day to strive for excellence in the classroom. Your commitment to our students is truly commendable. I am privileged to work alongside such talented and dedicated educators in Spring Hill Lake. Receiving this award is not just a personal achievement, but a testament to the collaborative spirit defines our school community. Together, we make a difference in the lives of our students, shaping their future and empowering them to reach their full potential. I also dedicate this award to my family in the Philippines and here in the U.S. Thank you, ACE Educator Committee, for working diligently to ensure that schools attended by Greenville children are of highest quality. As I proudly accept this award, I dedicate this most especially to my amazing students. You are the heart and soul in our classroom, and it is a privilege to learn and grow alongside each of you. Thank you for your hard work, kindness, and your endless enthusiasm for learning. Thank you very much.
I am proud and honored to present the certificate of recognition to Ivy Wilcher, Spring Hill Lake Elementary School, for your outstanding contributions and exceptional dedication to providing a quality learning experience for your students. Signed, Ingrid Watson, County Council Member for District 4. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Our next ACE Educator Award recipient is from Dora Kennedy French Immersion School, and this is presented to Kristen Ransom. It is with great enthusiasm and admiration that we nominate Kristen for the ACE Greenbelt Educator of the Year Award. Kristen embodies the essence of excellence in education, dedication to students, and commitment to community service. Kristen's journey in education traces back to her own roots as an alum of the esteemed Dora Kennedy French Immersion Program. This connection to her alma mater imbues her work with a deep sense of passion and purpose. Armed with a bachelor's degree from Lincoln University, Kristen embarked on her professional journey at DKFI in January 2022. In her relatively short tenure there, Kristen has left an indelible mark on both students and staff alike. Her versatility shines through as she seamlessly navigates through various grade levels from kindergarten to 8th grade, making a meaningful impact at every turn. Also, in addition to being the paraprofessional, Kristen steps up as one of the girls' basketball coaches for the 2023-24 school year, exemplifying her commitment to holistic student development. Kristen's dedication extends far beyond the confines of her job description. She possesses a selfless spirit, evident in her unwavering dedication to assisting and educating the youth. After the school day ends, she generously volunteers her time to tutor elementary students in the evenings, ensuring that each child receives the support they need to thrive academically. Her compassion knows no bounds as she patiently waits for students whose rides are late, offering reassurance and support during these moments of uncertainty. When asked about her future goals, Kristen humbly expresses her desire to continue being a positive asset at the school, and with the students around her. Her commitment to ongoing growth and service underscores her unwavering dedication to the Dora Kennedy French Immersion Program and community. In conclusion, Kristen is not only a remarkable educator, but also a shining example of the values upheld by the ACE Greenbelt community. Her tireless efforts, selfless demeanor, and unwavering commitment to student success make her a deserving candidate for the award this year. She stands as a true ambassador for our program, embodying the spirit of excellence in education and service to others. Say a few words.
I'd like to thank everyone here, the city of Greenbelt, definitely my staff over at DKFI. I was not even aware of this award ceremony even being a thing up until a few weeks ago, but I greatly appreciate being recognized for my hard work, as I don't really see it as hard work. I just see it as every day. I aspire to continue to assist those around me, to inspire those around me, and to continue being a great person. Thank you.
Kristen, in recognition of your hard work and dedication to the Prince George's County Public School system in your role as a paraprofessional, and for being the recipient of the Greenbelt Advisory Committee on Education ACE 2024 Educators Award, this is presented to you on behalf of the school board.
Good evening. The ACE Educator Award for Magnolia Elementary School is presented to Miss Mercy Faldonia. Magnolia Elementary is pleased to recognize Mrs. Faldonia as our ACE educator. A dedicated and caring individual, Mrs. Faldonia possesses many of the essential qualities needed to be an effective educator. She is prepared, creative, and a true champion for children. With equal parts love and firmness, Mrs. Faldonia sets and maintains high expectations for all her students. The students know they have a responsibility as learners, and Mrs. Faldonia will be there to support and encourage them. With an emphasis on open communication, respect, and belonging, she is able to establish a strong sense of community among students and families. Mrs. Faldonia has a winning personality and is able to find the silver lining in every dark cloud. Magnolia Elementary appreciates her hard work and commitment to making our school an extraordinary place to learn.
Honorable Mayor of Greenbelt, Mayor Emmett Jordan, council members, my dearest principal, Miss Tag, my vice principal, Miss Giddings, fellow awardees, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Teaching profession is a multifaceted and challenging. The responsibility bestowed upon teachers are immensely great. Teachers need to empower their students not only in their academic achievements, but also in their social, emotional, and cognitive growth so they will become responsible members of our society. I am very proud as a teacher. At this juncture, I humbly thank my Magnolia family, most especially to my extraordinary principal, Vice Principal, for the appreciation and trust afforded to me. I wish to thank also my dearest parents who are collaboratively working with me and the school to create a supportive learning environment. Of course, thank you to my dearest students for making me a part of their lives and helping me tonight to garner this prestigious recognition. Last but not the least, thank you, my dearest family, most especially to my ever-supported husband, who is here, Edgar Faldonia, and my son, who is far away from us tonight, who are the sources of my strength and inspiration. Thank you all.
And the final ACE Educator Award of the evening goes to Judith Barrera of Eleanor Roosevelt High School. Miss Judith Barrera is a dedicated social studies teacher who challenges her government students with innovative lessons for today's classroom. Ms. Barrera has been in education for 13 years and has been at Eleanor Roosevelt for the past 3 years. Ms. Barrera brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to a diverse group of learners and uses creative classroom strategies incorporating technology and student-centered learning. Outside of the classroom, Ms. Barrera is heavily involved with the equity team, which promotes giving staff and students equitable access to strategies for a more inclusive environment. Ms. Barrera also coordinated a Black History Month showcase with the ERHS Black Student Union and has been committed to that event yearly. Notably, Ms. Barrera served as the National History Day Chair and Coordinator. ERHS students who participated in this event were featured and recognized as winners in the Greenbelt News Review. Ms. Barrera is certainly dedicated to her students in the classroom, but clearly outside the classroom as well, which is truly honorable. Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I also was very surprised, being so that I'm new to PG County and new to the Greenbelt community. I would like to dedicate this award to the students that I have served over the last 13 years. A lot of times we talk about our work and what we have done, but it's really, for me, what the students have taught me. They have taught me resilience. They have taught me strength. They have taught me empathy. They have taught me how to mentor and the importance of a mentorship. And most importantly, they just taught me love. So I just want to dedicate my award to all of them over the year. Thank you, everyone.
I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening and taking part with this recognition event. From elementary school to high school, we see that Greenbelt educators are doing wonderful things, and we're grateful for the opportunity to recognize them this evening. Also, a reminder that the ACE committee is celebrating Greenbelt educators and staff. We're going to be holding drawings to fund free admission or field trips to the Greenbelt Cinema, and then each grade level from each of the 6 Greenbelt schools will win a field trip to the Greenbelt Cinema this coming school year and next school year too. So you want to make sure you sign up in your schools for that. And then we'd like now the award winners to come up, and we're going to do a group photograph.
That's correct. Hey, I'd just like to thank the members of ACE for all of their work, to the liaison, to the teachers, the parents and spouses and children that are here. Council, the City of Greenbelt, we are passionate about education, and we do all that we can to support the efforts of our educators and the students to make sure that we pursue a path of educational excellence in the City of Greenbelt. So what I'd like to do, let's recess the meeting for 10 minutes, take some photographs. As
Yeah.
you said, I'd like to invite the principals and the liaisons and all of the awardees up, and we can take a group picture. And I don't know how we're going to do this, but we're going to recess for photographs for 10 minutes before we get back to work. Sound good? I make that motion. Is there a second? Okay. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay. So we're going to quickly take some pictures, then we'll get back and do the proclamations and do the rest of the meeting. So we've got 10 minutes. I know Philip Orlando also I will try my best to the best of my ability. Okay, and we're all going to squeeze in.
Still taller than.
You want to get on one side?
Yeah, so that the award winners are kind of
In the center, yeah. Mr. Briggs and Ms. Swanson sort of want to get in because we're all one big happy family. Okay, is this going to work? Everybody say.
I think we should,
I say Greenbelt education. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anybody want to do a real quick individual picture with council members? I'm not.
But I was like, I haven't had time to do it, and so like the very first day, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a report. I was like, oh, I actually
Take no more pictures.
Back is fast.
Oh, really?
Stand here too long.
Are you taking anything for it?
Nothing I can really do about it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Not doing surgery, that's for sure. My back is spazzing out. Go ahead.
Anybody else?
Yes, Kristen.
If you can come, it's always better. Get on Twitter.
Out there on a bike and everything like that.
I just sent you an email today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Okay.
and also to Tamika.
Okay, just kind of outlining the.
Well, it's going to be but Monday is just going to be the a work session, but Wednesday is going to be dinner in Annapolis.
Oh, so which one do you want me to come to?
We want you to come to both. I know it's a lot.
I can't do both.
Okay.
So I can look at, because I have something going on Wednesday night. I don't know. I have to see, because I think I only scheduled it for one night.
Right.
Monday.
Monday is the council work session here. Yes.
Right, I have that.
Okay, and then the 20th is the legislative dinner. They invited you and the two at-large members.
Oh, Calvin and Mel.
Yeah, and Briggs, and then Senator Washington and the delegates. Just to have dinner, just to talk about legislation, and that's it for a couple hours. But they evenings like at 6.
It's at 6?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In
Now the
Annapolis.
work session is
That's
Monday
at 7:30.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's during a council meeting?
Yeah, that's here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just a regular work session for like 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're just reviewing.
And it's just a different setting. It's a more informal setting. They'll be sitting at a table. You all be sitting at a table.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not set up like
so they
this.
want me to kind of give information on what's coming through the campus.
I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Okay. I could probably make the Monday.
Okay, that's
Can't
understandable.
promise the Wednesday, but we'll see.
Okay.
See what I can do.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
though.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Take care, Rock. Good seeing you.
Aquatic center coming out there. The steps up across the back of the statue and the green.
It would ruin the whole center.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I think the majority of people say no, we're not doing that.
We don't need a new building anyway, Bob. You know? We got a beautiful building up on Southway that we can put our staff in.
Oh, you're talking about the.
A beautiful space in there.
You know, I mean, I know it's pretty.
If you want to claim to be, you know, sound, you would use that old building.
Finally, the wait is
Anybody else?
At the, which room?
A couple rooms. Art rooms. Those could be awesome.
It'd be nice if we could move planning out of there and then we'd have more space for people.
You didn't. Okay, at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we leave the recess and go back into regular session. I make that motion. Is there a second? Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get back to business. If the news review could please go out in the hallway. News review. Yeah. So we're going to continue on with the agenda, and we've got a couple of proclamations to do. And the first has to do with a very important date coming up on the 20th of January. So it's a proclamation for Meat Out Day in the city of Greenbelt. And I know we've got Dan Gelati, Barbara, and several residents here. If you could come forward, I'll read this proclamation to you. Welcome. You old vegan, you. That's a t-shirt, and she's vegan too. Why don't you come up also? Come on up. I'll stand over here on one side. You guys can line up over there. So, whereas removing animal products from our diets reduces the risk of various ailments, including heart disease, high blood pressure, stroke, multiple cancers, diabetes, and whereas a plant-based diet helps protect the environment by reducing our carbon footprint, preserving forests, grasslands, and wildlife habitats, and reducing pollution of our waterways, and whereas a growing number of people are reducing their meat consumption to help prevent animal cruelty, and whereas since Meat Out was launched in 1985, more than 35 million Americans have explored a plant-based diet and reduced their consumption of meat, dairy, and eggs, and major food manufacturers and national franchises are marketing more vegan options in response to this growing demand. And whereas many Greenbelt residents and visitors patronize our local restaurants and stores and provide healthful and delicious vegan and vegetarian options, thereby bolstering our local economy. Now, therefore, I, Emmett V. Jordan, by the authority vested in me by the residents and the City Council of Greenbelt, do hereby proclaim March 20th, 2024 as Meat Out Day in the city of Greenbelt, and call upon all residents to explore the benefits of a wholesome plant-based diet. So I'd like to present this proclamation to you all. Yeah, we can take that. Hey, thank you so much. This is an important occasion. You know, the 20th of March, Meat Out Day, it's an opportunity for us to maybe alter our diets, our habits just a little bit, try something new, or just get back into a good habit. Maybe we made a New Year's resolution and we haven't quite lived up to it. So why don't you go to the podium over there and you can tell us if you got some things planned for the 20th, let us know.
Hello, Council. Thank you very much for your consideration on the proclamation and making March 20th Meat Out Day here in Greenbelt. I'm Dan Gelati. Sometimes you know me from running the food co-op in the New Deal Cafe. Tonight I'm actually here as a guy who lives at 10 Hillside, but I do support this proclamation because I think being a vegan is a worthwhile way to contribute to society. for care for the animals, care for the environment, and care for the people that actually work in those industries it's not a great industry to work in for most of them. And so we care about that too. And so I just want to recognize that's my personal kind of where I land. And I'm pleased to be able to work at places where we can find like-minded folks who are interested in more of a plant-based choices and able to help offer those. And so I support y'all thinking about trying something plant-based if you haven't on Meatless Mondays and Meat Out on March 20th. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Hey, Barbara, if I could ask a question on behalf of the council and so many
Please.
residents, what do you think we should have for breakfast on the 20th?
Okay, well, oatmeal is always a wonderful thing to have. You can get oatmeal, you can get some frozen berries, you could add some raisins, some dates, some nuts. You can get some plant-based yogurt from the co-op. There's some really good ones. Forager is really great. You can have a bagel with Miyoko's cream cheese. There's really an unlimited number of things you can eat. There's no lack. There's no lack. There's no dearth because of being non-animal based.
Sounds delicious, but I think I'm going to have a smoothie with 2 bananas and some berries, maybe some oat milk in there and a few other things, and it should keep me
That
going
sounds
till
better.
lunch. Or I might go over to the New Deal Cafe and
That's
have
right.
a smoothie over there. One of our other restaurants. We got a lot of restaurants that have vegan choices, though.
Yes,
That's a
we
good
do.
thing. So thanks for promoting this idea. And I don't know if there are going to be any specials at restaurants, but I guess on you could probably look on Facebook on one of the pages like the Greenbelters page. If there are businesses in Greenbelt that are
Well-
promoting things.
Well, we
Was it
have an
Meatless
event.
Monday, was it?
We have an event page which we're going to post into the Green Belters, and any restaurant who wants to participate or anybody who wants to add to the event, we're going to have a cooking demo at the New Deal at the co-op. The sky's the limit. So we want more participation. The co-op is going to be offering specials throughout the store with the new sandwich. It's all very exciting. We do want to get the other businesses involved, but as Dan said, the human rights is a major part of this, and for social justice issues for humans alone is a reason, besides all the other reasons we talk about. And we don't talk about, when we talk about deforestation, we talk about losing habitat, but that's also the reason why we have pandemics, COVID, and other things are because of our intensive use of animals. So it's a human rights issue all the way around.
That's a beautiful thing. So that's the 20th of March. I can taste that veggie burger right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey,
And
thank you.
please, everybody, bring all your friends, tell your friends about it. And there's going to be a big article in the News Review about it, hopefully this week, which will give you a lot more factual information about the upcoming. So check the event page for updates.
Yeah, thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have another proclamation. It's Women's History Month. So I'd like to invite council down. Mr. Roberts, if you'd like to come down and stand with me when I read this. And members of council, I don't know if you'd like to join me, but I'd like to present this proclamation to you. Get up there on the plans. Why don't you come over here, Mr. Roberts? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So here we go. Whereas women of diverse races, classes, ethnicities, sexual orientations, gender identities, and abilities have significantly contributed to the viability and prosperity of our nation, and whereas women have faced and overcome discrimination, harassment, and adversity with courage, resilience, steadfast in the belief that persistence and determination can surmount any barrier, and whereas women are indispensable in the economic, cultural, and social realms of our nation's life, shaping its direction and progress, and whereas throughout history, women have been pivotal in advocating for suffrage, equal opportunities, and in leading movements such as the abolitionist, the emancipation, the industrial labor, and civil rights movements, often spearheading progressive social changes. And whereas from the inception of communities such as Greenbelt to the present day, women, including figures like Eleanor Roosevelt, have emerged as influential advocates and thought leaders, shaping our societal values and priorities. This is so much to say. And whereas despite their individual contributions, The roles and achievements of women have been frequently marginalized and undervalued in historical narratives and scholarly studies. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Emmett V. Jordan, by the authority vested in me by the residents in the City Council of Greenbelt, do hereby proclaim March to be Women's History Month in Greenbelt, to recognize and honor the enduring impact of women in all spheres of life and to commit to a more inclusive and equitable representation of their contributions in our collective history and future endeavors. So I'd like to present this proclamation to you collectively. Okay, fantastic. So we get Okay. Women's History Month, it's something that we definitely need to talk about and think about a little bit. And, I was reading the Greenbelt News Review, as I always do. And, there was an article in there about, this city council, this is the first women-led council in Greenbelt's history.
Woman majority.
Yeah, woman majority. And so, I don't know, would anybody like to say anything?
Mayor Pro Tem.
I think, yes, it's very exciting to have, I'm sorry that we're missing Ms. Pope this evening, but 5 women and 2 men, it is historic in Greenbelt, and our first woman of color as well on City Council, so that's excellent. I don't want to speak too long because we have some more things to talk about, so let's get back to work.
Well, fantastic. Well, on that note, that prompt, let's move on to the next section of the agenda, which is administrative reports. Dr. Park and Mr. George, thank you for holding down the fort. I think Mr. Samarone is due to return in the next few days. But in the meantime, there's, business does not stop in the city of Greenbelt. So I thank you for stepping in. Lots of things going on. Do you want to highlight a couple of items that may be coming up, or things that may have happened in the past week or 2 weeks? What do you got?
I'll do a couple and then Liz can jump in. We're actively working on the budget, so we're getting very close to getting those numbers finished. So when Josue is back, he'll be able to see the final set narratives are coming together. It's going to be a really fun book. I think James and Chandra are working really hard with Bertha to create a new look. So it's going to be kind of exciting to see how this new book comes out. As you all know, we're working on earmarks. I'm going to be forwarding a letter to council early this week. Because one of the things we're going to need is for council to write a letter of support to our federal delegation saying you support the earmarks that the city is going after. We're also reaching out to Boys and Girls Club. PSAC has offered to write a letter. So we're getting letters for each of the 3 earmarks from key stakeholders to go along with our application. Carrie's taking the lead on that. We're going to get those out. So I'll be back to you probably tomorrow with a draft letter just to get your okay with, and we'll go ahead and get that included with the submission, and the ATHA grant is in, and we're getting those letters prepared as well. So
that's exciting. That's important. And we're having the National League of Cities conference. I don't know if any members of council are going to be able to go down to visit with Congressman Ivey. I'm not going to be able to do that on Monday, but if you are, it would be good to just mention the fact that we've got something in the works that we'll be forwarding to him. Okay. What else you got?
Good? Okay.
You're good.
So I know you had asked about an update on Charlestown North.
Yes.
And so Ms. Ruby sent a report saying to let you all know that the temporary rental license was issued to Tarantino Management and it'll be valid for 3 months as long as they're making progress towards the repairs and the other maintenance items that need to happen. And it's their hope that by the end of the 3 months, all violations will be abated. And then they'll have a permanent non-conditional license that they can issue. And then the inspector day went out today, and the trash compactor has been repaired. They are still having some issues of helping residents understand what can and can't go down the chute, but they're working on that. They've already scheduled the work on securing the doors, and the online payment system will be up and running for April, but all residents have paid their March rent.
That's helpful. Thank you for that update. Mayor Pro Tem?
Have they made any progress on getting the elevator inspected?
Plumbers have been on site, the cleaners. I don't see a report on the elevator, but we can ask.
Okay.
Yep.
I believe that's scheduled.
Okay.
The reinspection is scheduled, I think, for later this week.
Great.
But we can confirm that.
Thank you.
Okay, any inquiries or questions from council for our city manager? Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, please.
I just had one thing because I noted in the report that it looks like the staff went to trainings for the webinar, the Safe Streets and Roads for All application program. That came up in the Transportation and Infrastructure Services Committee meeting yesterday at NLC, and specifically that they were undersubscribed on the planning and demonstration applications compared, because I think there's two categories. There's the planning and demonstration activities, and then the action plans. And the last round, they were undersubscribed on those planning and demonstration activities. So that's a really good opportunity. I don't know if we're going for one of those. I think that we talked about doing like the Vision Zero plan and stuff, but I just wanted to emphasize that they were trying to get people to make sure and apply in that category very specifically. So
we are applying for Vision Zero, and Terry was kind of told that as well, that is an undersubscribed program, and it's not a guarantee, but it's close to a lock. So we're excited for that.
Yeah, and I want to echo that. I've been told by a number of people that we really, really need to put in a planning grant. It's a great opportunity to actually get funding, and also I understand that both planning, but also some aspect of a demonstration project embedded in that would also be something that would fit. Yes, Ms. McKinney.
I wanted to also see if there was an update on whether or not we had gotten information from Kaboom about looking into the possibility of going after a grant for a playground in partnership with Franklin Park. One of the activities that I had an opportunity to sit in on the National League of Cities was Nature Everywhere, which is all about connecting kids to nature. And that organization works with Kaboom, and there's an opportunity to become part of that and become a Nature Everywhere city. So lots of different ways where you can get funding and resources. And so I know that Mr. Salmarone was going to reach out to our grants coordinator and just look at the possibility on whether or not we would be eligible for a grant for that area. And just wanted to get some type of update on that.
I'll follow with Carrie tomorrow, and we'll send out an update to council tomorrow afternoon.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey, just two things quickly. One, we need to put together our presentation and materials for the legislative dinner, and that's a high priority. So I'd like to if we can get some sort of a draft that I can look at, Mayor Pro Tem, then we circulate around to all of council, because it's important that we figure out exactly what we want to talk about. And the other thing, well, actually, it's two things. We've been selected as a stop on the NLC 100th anniversary roadshow, which is important, an important opportunity for us to highlight some of the ways that the city has actually benefited from our membership in the National League of Cities. So I know that we've got a couple of staff people working on that, but that's coming up on April the 15th. And finally, on Wednesday at 4 o'clock, the president of the Maryland Municipal League, John Carroll from the city of Galena, is trying to visit as many municipalities in the state as he possibly can. There's 157 different municipalities, so he wants to come to Greenbelt at 4 o'clock on Wednesday So I don't, count as many council members as want to come. If you could be here, and we'll talk a little bit in council chambers and walk them over to the community center, Roosevelt Center. So it's not something that's going to be staff intensive, but I'd like to have council here mostly. He's kind of squeezing it in. He's going to visit Berwyn Heights and University Park. And I told him, well, don't you want to spend a little time in Greenbelt, or are you just going to parachute through? So that's going to be, please put that on your calendar.
Meet here, just at the municipal building.
Yeah, 4 o'clock. If the room is available. On Wednesday, do you think it may be available? Yes.
So CARES is in here
Okay.
on Wednesday evening.
We could probably meet in the library then.
yeah.
Or Wednesday evening, because it would,
Well, so we have it from 3 to 6.
3 to 6. Okay, we can meet in the library then, I guess. That would work. Initially, yeah, okay. Okay. So the next item on the agenda, if there are no other questions, is item number legislation. It's item number 11. And this is has to do with, it's based on a memo from Chief Bowers, May 21st, 2020. So it's the red light camera contract with Vera Mobility. The city police department began a red light camera enforcement program in 2002 as a part of a partnership with other area police departments. The current contract is up for renewal with Vera Mobility as a part of the ongoing partnership with the Howard County Police Department. The proposed contract extension is attached. Staff recommends that the city extend the contract. I noticed something. Our Mr. Carrington, who we're working with on legislative issues, had mentioned something in his email. Did anyone else from council see that? He says, I'd like to bring to your attention an important matter concerning potential renewal of the city's contract with ATS. And he is recommending against proceeding with this action at this time. Did anybody else see that?
When was this email sent? Were we included?
It's Sunday, I think. Sunday at 8:35 p.m.
I don't know that.
think-
I'm not sure the rest of us got it.
I didn't get that email.
Okay, well, I think it went to staff. So did staff? Mr. George, you got it.
Yeah, I did. I saw this morning when I came on, and I think he was just recommending that he could be helpful in negotiating a contract. Although we have one negotiated now, just to make council aware of that fact.
Okay, well, is this time sensitive, or is this something we could, based on? I haven't spoken with him, so it seems like if there's something, he says he strongly.
And the chief is online if you want to.
Oh, okay.
Kind of chat.
Has he seen the email? Chief Bowers, are you there?
Good evening, Mayor Council. No, I have not seen the email that you're referring to.
Okay. Well, we need to, is there a great time sensitivity? Is this something we could act on at the next council meeting?
Our contract's about to expire, so it's something we do need to get accomplished. I'm not sure what the objection in the letter is without having looked at it. This is part of an ongoing partnership that we've been in since early mid-2000s. It's part of Howard County's consortium of camera vendors. So that's a really good price that we're currently getting from them. It's been in place since 2011.
Right. Let's see, and how much is it for, the contract?
It's based on the volume of citations that are issued.
Okay, because I'm just wondering, I don't really know what this is about, but I was reviewing my emails and this Sunday evening, so I just kind of looked at it, noticed it today. Mr. George, what do you think? He's, I don't know.
Say.
It says, I'd like to bring to your attention an important matter concerning the potential renewal of the city's contract. Strongly advise against proceeding with this action at this time, feasible, something. So I don't want to betray.
Rhyme or reason why we should do this. It's just, could I?
Yes, please.
I do have a question about the basics of the speed camera for the chief. And,
Please go ahead.
I'm wondering how has the program affected the problem of red light running and the thing that we're supposed to be, trying to solve? Has it been successful at all in reducing the number of violations, or?
Well, we think it's
how
been
is that?
effective at the intersections where the cameras are located in reducing the number of crashes that have occurred there.
What was that?
I said we believe it's been effective at the locations where the cameras are currently deployed in reducing motor vehicle crashes. Yes, sir.
But you don't have any numbers on that as far as
We would have to go back to pre-2011 statistics to do a comparison. I mean, we can get that for you if you'd like.
Yeah. Well, personally, I don't think we should just have red light cameras to have red light cameras. I think they need to prove themselves. I think they need to be doing something for us. So I don't want to just, vote for something so we can have that program, because I want to know that it's actually doing something for us. So if you could provide those numbers, that might help.
Okay. Well, unless our next meeting is 2 weeks from now, and I would prefer to just defer this just to find out whatever is the concern. And if Mr. Roberts needs some additional information, that's fine. Chief, can we defer this until our next meeting is on the 26th? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That should be fine.
Okay. Yes.
And I think it might be helpful because what we have in the packet talks about things like pricing and invoicing shall be as set forth in the Howard County agreement, but we don't have that agreement in the packet. So that would answer some of the questions about what is the actual, what are the arrangements of our agreement. If it's based on that other agreement, it'd be nice to see that other agreement.
Yes, ma'am. I'll get that for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Chief, thank you so much.
Thank you, Council.
Well, let's move on to item number 12, and this is going to be extensive. We're in the middle of the legislative session right now, and we're approaching the point where the bills that are in the House or in the Senate have to cross over. So many of the hearings have already taken place, but we do have an opportunity to weigh in on some of the bills before they move forward. And our state delegates and senators and the delegates and senators in adjoining jurisdictions really do pay attention when we take a thoughtful stand on an issue. So it is important for us to review this legislation, the different bills, and to weigh in when appropriate. And we have the option: we can support a bill, we could support a bill with amendment, we could oppose a bill, or we could simply take no action. And often, if there is a conflict of interest or something that we're not, there are issues that our sister jurisdictions want to weigh in on, and maybe we don't have as much skin in the game. So, there are times when we would just take no position because we wouldn't want to interfere with our sister jurisdictions. So it's pretty straightforward. We've got about 6 or 7 of these bills, and I'll read through them. Are there, Mayor Pro Tem?
Well, I was just going to suggest, because I see some folks who I think are here for the bottle bill, and Mr. Snyder, I don't know which ones you're here to speak to, if any, but we might want to rearrange the order because I think the bottle bill is the last one on the list. So it might be nice for our residents who are in the audience to speak to that one, to do that one first, so that they don't have to stick around for as long as the rest of the discussion takes.
Yes, we could do that. Somebody would have to make a motion to that.
I would like to move to address the bottle bill, Marriage Beverage Container Recycling Refund and Litter Reduction Program, HB 0735, first of these lists of legislation items.
I second. I don't know if we have to make the motion because it's all on the same agenda item. Well, we're just talking, but I second.
Okay, and I'm not, maybe I have an old packet. I'm not seeing that here. Where is that?
It's the last one, HB 0735.
Bill, okay.
The last
Oh,
bill,
I got
yes,
it.
yes, no, it's all
Okay.
within this agenda item. I just, yeah.
This is HB 0735, Maryland Beverage Container Recycling Refund and Litter Reduction Program. This is a bill, it's in the House, and it's establishing a Maryland Beverage Container Recycling Refund and Litter Reduction Program. And this would increase the reuse and recycling of beverage containers and reduce the litter pollution and costs associated with beverage containers. This would also prohibit a producer from selling offering for sale or distributing in or importing into the state a redeemable beverage container unless the producer is registered with the Department of Environment, pays a certain fee, and is part of a certain stewardship organization, etc. So the recommendation from staff is that we support this bill, but we do have representatives from the public that are here to speak from Green Aces. Mr. George, do you have any comments about this? Who was the sponsor of this bill? Do you know?
That one, maybe they can speak. They added that after the fact, so.
Okay, well, if you could step up to the podium.
There's a whole list of delegates, it looks like. Delegates Terrassa, Edelson, Boafo, Charcudian, Coolison, Embry, Fair, Fedmark, Foley, Fraser Hidalgo, Healy, Holmes, A. Johnson, Kaufman, Lehman, Love, Pena Melnick, T.
Sounds like a popular bill.
Yeah, William, so yes, there's quite a few. That's a number.
And there was one mistake that didn't quite make it into the agenda. It's also in the Senate bill.
Oh, it's cross-filed, okay.
4-2. It's cross.
Okay. So, Mr. Lippert, and would you like to comment on this bill? Are you opposing this or supporting it, or what? Green Aces, has Green Aces formally discussed it?
At the Green Aces Green Team meeting, and we voted on it, and that's why we are recommending that you send a letter of support, a letter in support of these two bills.
Okay. Is there any comment from members of council? Any thoughts, reasons why we would oppose it or not take any action, or amendments that you want to? So that part of a certain stewardship organization, which organization are they talking about?
There would the state of Maryland would set up
an organization
in order to manage this program.
Uh-huh.
It's supposed to start up, the program itself would start up on January 1st of 2027, but in 2025 and 2026, there's an awful lot of work that needs to be done to set up the organization, advisory council, et cetera, et cetera. And it's a program that is financed by itself through fees from the producers of metal, plastic, and glass beverage containers. So it's nothing that would cost anyone else. And it's been very successful in 10 states
other
already
states,
for decades in many cases.
Yeah, where I grew up in Ohio, and we had to deposit on glass bottles, not on metal at the time, but I think it was 5 or 10 cents. You turn in the bottle and get the money back. So.
Yes, so the way it's structured is that it would be on any beverage container that is 3 liters or less or smaller, and it would be 10 cents deposit on beverage containers that are 24 ounces or smaller, and be greater than 24 up to 3 liters, it would be 15 cents.
Does that include plastic?
Yes, it does.
Okay, and does the plastic or metal, does it have to be intact? If it's a smashed can, could you still get the deposit back?
Well, they talked about broken and that where they will smash them, but
Yes.
I think it has to be intact whenever you return it.
That's my experience. I think that's the way it works in Oregon, as I recall. I think you're supposed to leave them whole.
Whole, yeah.
Okay, and there, well, the thing with it is that the beverage container producers will be required to put a separate UPC code or other code on it and it says Maryland on it and says what the price is. So another thing is that they're looking to use various advanced technologies such as reverse vending machines. So they have to be able to read the UPC code in order to be able to provide the refund on that.
Okay. So is there a motion? Would someone like to make a motion?
I would like to move that council write a letter in support of HB 735, SB 642, the Maryland bottle bill.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Okay, there's a member of the public who would like to make a comment.
Bill Orleans, resident. I would support this bill. I could use the nickels I might get. But I have a question. I presume this is the first effort since the retention of Gerald Carrington know, it seeks direction or recommends support or maybe opposition. I'm just curious, we're at the end of this paragraph, it is recommended that the city council support HB 0735. Does that reflect Daryl Carrington's view?
Well, thank you for your important question. And I would say that the way that that's written is not quite correct. You know, council thinks independently, and we have relationships with our delegates and senators. So we are getting information from Mr. Carrington. We're getting information from Prince George's County Municipal Association, from MML, and from NLC. So we actually, and through active citizens such as Green Aces and the Green Team, we get information from a number of sources, and while staff may make recommendations, we make our own decisions.
And in this case, it is explicitly recommended by Green Aces that council support this one, and because there's the memo that's part of the packet.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we need to send a letter of support. And we need to add on the fact that it's Senate Bill 42, is that what it was?
It's
642.
642, okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, let's circle back to the first bill, which is a county bill, CR 005-2024. And this legislation is pending before the Prince George's County Health, Human Services, and Public Safety Committee, which may interest the Greenbelt Council. It advocates for the establishment of a commission providing reparations to African Americans descendants from those previously enslaved in the state. In tribute to Harriet Tubman's legacy, the Prince George's County Council urges the General Assembly to create the Maryland Reparations Commission, embodying a commitment to justice and historical recognition. The Prince George's County Council calls upon the General Assembly to establish the Maryland, it says representatives, but I'm pretty sure that that's Reparations Commission, in the 2024 legislative session. Am I correct? That should be reparations.
I believe so, but I just think autocorrect took over.
Actually, no, it says Maryland Representations Commission in the text of the resolution.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Okay. Okay, so is there a motion to support this, or is there any discussion from council, or do you feel like we should take no action?
Have comment from our own reparations commission? Or
That would be a good idea. I don't know if they'd be in a position to actually make a recommendation based on their meeting schedule, but we could certainly refer it to them. Why don't we do that? Do you know, is it time sensitive? Is this something, do we know when the county council would be looking at this? We could have asked Mr. Watson. I keep wanted to. Harrison.
Introduced on February 13th, so.
Let's see, do they meet monthly?
I'm not sure that I think it would be something that we
Why don't we refer it to the Reparations Commission, and if they weigh in, we can still, if this is in committee, it hasn't gone to the council as a whole. It's still in committee.
We've shared it with them already.
Oh, good.
I mean, not as an official referral from council to take action, but we did forward this to Megan, and Megan did send this to the commission, so they have had a chance to look at the legislation, at least to review it.
Okay, what'd they say?
Well, no, we didn't ask them for a response. We just want to send to them so they'd be aware of it. But if you all want to make it a referral and ask them for a response back, that would be certainly appropriate.
Okay, Member Pro Tem?
I guess I'm not sure that I feel the need to wait for a referral on them because I think that there's a clear support in the city of Greenbelt based on our own referendum to create a reparations commission for Greenbelt as voted on in November of 2021. It seems like there's support, and I think it would only strengthen our city reparations efforts if there is a broader county or state effort. So I don't feel the need to wait to refer it for a specific recommendation. I think it would be good to have the Reparations Commission keep tabs on it and follow up with it, but depending on when it's going to actually be before the county council, that could mean we don't get to say anything if it goes to committee or gets a vote before the Reparations Commission has to give a recommendation. I guess that's my thought on it.
Did you want to make a motion?
It looks like Mr. Roberts has his hand up. I don't know.
Roberts, please go ahead.
Well, I don't think it's the charge of our reparations commission to look at outside issues in the county. I think it's their charge to look at our issue here in Greenbelt. That was what we asked of the voters. And that's the charge that they have. They're not there to look at county bills or anything else. So I don't think that's a good idea. I think this is up to the city council to decide, not our reparations commission, because they're not charged with that.
Want to make a motion?
I will make a motion that
please
I
do.
move that I move that Greenbelt City Council send a letter in support of the of resolution CR 005 2024 Commission on Reparations.
Okay, so second, Ms. Pompey seconded. Any additional discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Okay, next we're going to look at Senate Bill 0191, Prince George's County Property Tax Credit, Public School Employees. That's PG 50324, authorizing the governing body of Prince George's County to grant, by law, a property tax credit against the county property tax imposed on dwellings that are owned by certain eligible employees of Prince George's County Public Schools, providing for the maximum amount of the credit, requiring Prince George's County government to submit a certain report concerning the credit to certain persons or before a certain date, applying the act to all taxable years beginning June 30th, 2024. Council direction is sought. So basically, it's to provide a tax credit to employees of the public schools. So is there any discussion, or would someone like to make a motion, or someone have some thoughts on this? Mayor Pro Tem.
Well, I think it was interesting that one of the things that I noted is it's fairly limited, because it's, if you look in the analysis section, it talks about it is eligible employees who did not reside in the county before purchasing the dwelling for which the credit is claimed, and is otherwise eligible for the homestead property tax credit, which I believe means first-time home buyers generally.
Yep.
But I found that interesting that it's, somebody who, for example, was renting in Prince George's County and then decided to purchase as a resident of Prince George's County Public Schools, based on my reading of that, would not be eligible for this, which I found interesting. And I don't know, that was just something that I noted.
Any other discussion? It sounds like you want to make a motion to support with an amendment. I mean, we would like more teachers to live in Greenbelt or in the area in Prince George's County, and so this would be an incentive to do so. But your point is well taken for people that are renting, first-time homeowners. They're renting, they're already living here. So maybe would you like to make a motion that we support this with an amendment?
I just wanted to have some discussion before we jump to making a motion on this one. I think that this is not as straightforward as the other ones, and we don't have a recommendation from one of our committees as we did on the bottle bill. So I think I would like to discuss it and see what other people think about it. And I know there are some other people who have some more background with the school system and other things in this county. So no, I don't want to make a motion yet.
Oh, okay. Well, it sounds like a good idea to me. Mr. Roberts.
Well, I think we're being asked to make a decision on these issues that are with very little information here. This is not, I don't know what the particulars are of the council bill, the county council bill. So I don't know why we're voting on this particular one for sure, because, I don't know what they're talking about. Everything is kind of, nebulous here.
There were a couple of pages in the packet. I don't know if you read that, Mr. Roberts. There is more detail in the packet besides just that description that's on the agenda.
Not very much detail, it's not. If I'd been working with this, since it started, okay, I would know, but yeah.
Member Pompey.
I know we discussed this on the PGCMA legislative calls, and I think the concerns there were mostly that it was too limited, that if you were a teacher who was already living here, you wouldn't qualify, and we want to sort of encourage all teachers. I don't know if I can't recall if the decision they made was to go back and see if they could get an amendment on that. But I mean, I think it's a good idea, but recognizing that there's some limitations. It's a bit limited, because the idea is definitely that if a teacher moves here, they would get the credit, but not if you were someone who was already living here. So.
So, I would support with an amendment that renters, that are people that are already living here that buy, should be able to qualify their tax credit. I would support this bill with that amendment. And we could write a letter to that effect.
I would agree with that.
I noticed there was no designated cross file. Does that, I think that, does that mean that it's?
Well, the cross-file date hasn't arrived yet. It's coming up next week, so there's still a little bit of time. So I'll go ahead and make that motion that we support SB 191 with an amendment that current residents who are renting in Prince George's County should also be able to qualify for a tax credit if they're a first-time homeowner and they buy in Prince George's County.
I'll second
that.
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes 5-1? Okay, let's see, next bill is House Bill 0282, Speed Monitoring Systems Agencies. And this has to do with statements and certifications of violations. The bill authorizes a technician employed by an agency rather than only a duly authorized law enforcement officer to, number one, sign a statement in a citation alleging a speed monitoring system violation, and number two, swear or affirm for evidentiary reasons that a speed monitoring system violation occurred after inspection of a recorded image. It's recommended that council support that amendment. Now, personally, I'm not too big on the speed cameras, but they are helping to keep our streets safer, speed monitoring systems, and essentially what this bill is telling us or is asking us to do, and I see Chief Bowers is on the line. As it stands now, a sworn police officer has to review, and I believe they would have to, if a citation goes to court, a sworn officer has to actually take time off to go to the court to testify or certify, and this would allow a civilian to carry that out, which would free the sworn or police department would be able to spend more time in Greenbelt and less time going to court. Chief Bowers, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. I'm still here.
Oh, excellent, excellent. So did I get that correct, that HB 0282, the speed monitoring systems, I think I heard that the Police Chiefs Association was supporting this bill. Do you know anything about it?
Yes, sir. This is something that the Maryland Chiefs of Police Association is in support of. Currently in the state of Maryland, a speed citation must be approved by a certified police officer, whereas the red light camera system can be any police department employee, so it can be a civilian employee designated with that task. So this particular piece of legislation would essentially make the two laws equal so that we could have a civilian employee approving citations rather than having that delegation fall to a sworn police officer.
Right, and in our city in particular, would that involve having an additional civilian employee, or would the responsibility fall to one of our current civilian employees in terms
We
of
would
their workload?
continue to have the red light camera employee do that citation.
Okay. Okay. How many, I know Mr. Roberts is probably thinking the same thing, about how many of those speed camera violations come in a typical month?
I don't have an exact number in front of me, but it's in the thousands. It's probably about 2,500 a month, but I could get that number for you.
Right. And how long does it take to certify one of those? Somebody has to,
It's
she
probably
has
a
to go
couple
back.
of minutes per citation, sir, because they have to watch the video and check the tag and make sure all the information is correct.
Right. So essentially, this individual that we have spends the entire day kind of looking at these videos for the red light tickets and speed tickets.
They do spend a good portion of their day reviewing and approving citations. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. And so your recommendation is that we approve this or support this bill?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Ms. Niesel.
So I just had
Councilmember?
a point to clarify. So when it reads in the bill, a technician employed by an agency, that would be an employee of the Greenbelt Police Department who is not an authorized law enforcement officer? It would not
Yes,
be a
ma'am. So one of
third-grade
our civilian
technician.
employees.
Okay. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Are there any particular requirements or certifications that technician has to go through before they're allowed to do this? Is that part of the bill, or is that part of the training required for this role?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. That's part of the training that you have to go through, whether you're a police officer or a sworn employee, in order to be certified to actually approve the citations. Even a police officer has to go through a training program in order to be able to view the citations, understand how the system operates, and then approve the citations.
So the civilian employee would simply have to go through that same training that the officers already do?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I move to support. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to look at my.
That HB 0282?
Thank you. I was looking for the number. I moved to support recommending HB 0282.
Okay, and is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, yes, we've got some, if there's no further council discussion, Mr. Hartman?
Michael Hartman, 2 Court Garden Way. Chief Bowers, can you let us know what some of the arguments are against this bill that have been brought up?
Chief Bowers, are you there?
Yes, sir. Mr. Hartman, I'm not aware of any arguments against it. I think when the original legislation was passed many years ago, it was kind of piecemealed together. So the original authorizing legislation enacted only for Montgomery County. And I think at the time that was the compromise that they made with the legislators to enact the program. And then it's expanded from there. And there's been a number of attempts every year to change the legislation to allow civilian employees, because it's more costly to have a police officer doing it. And that's a police officer that we have to take off the road and reassign to this duty to have that done. I don't honestly know what the legislative rationale was for not approving this change over the number of years, but it is something we feel strongly about and would like to get into place.
Thank you.
Chief Bowers, if you would beg my indulgence, so I'm wondering what happens when someone wants to dispute or escalate a red light camera ticket or speed camera ticket. I'm not familiar with what happens in Greenbelt, although I do know what happens in Washington, D.C. But so what happens when someone wants to dispute a red light camera, or more specifically with a speed camera, or let's say with a red light camera. Let's say someone goes through a red light and they are 1/10 of a second into the red light, and they get a ticket. And they want to dispute that. What happens?
So they would simply make a request for an appearance in the Maryland District Court, and they would get a court date like you would for any other violation of the transportation article, and you would have an opportunity to make your case in front of a district court judge.
Right. And what's the margin of error? Not that I'm asking because of some personal situation, but what 1/10 of a second? What's the margin of error on these?
If the vehicle has not crossed the white stop line prior to the light turning red, and then you proceed over the stop line after the light turns red, you'd be issued a citation.
Even 1/10 of a second?
It could be. Depends on the length of your vehicle and the stop line. It really, so there's that white stop line. Your vehicle, if your vehicle has begun to cross the stop line when the light turns red, you'll be allowed through it because you've entered the intersection already. But if the light is turned completely red prior to entering the intersection and crossing the white stop line, that's considered a violation.
Okay, that's helpful. So seriously, so when it's escalated, the civilian employee, and this goes to district court, so would the civilian employee have to go and testify at the district court? Or would
Yes,
an
that's
officer...
correct. The civilian employee, the technician, would go testify in district court.
Okay, thank you. If there are no further questions, let's go ahead and take a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, that motion does carry. Hey, thank you, Chief. Let's move on to the next legislative bill. That's House Bill 0396, Prince George's County. It's a sales and use tax on energy and fuel, use of revenue. That's Coming from Prince George's County, it's a county bill, it's a state bill 407-24. This bill would enable Prince George's County government to use the proceeds from local sales and use tax on energy and fuel to meet state funding requirements for the local school system under the Maintenance of Effort MOE requirement and local share provision. Under current law, the revenue proceeds from the energy and fuel tax cannot be used to support local funding as required under the Maintenance of Effort or local share provision. This bill would take effect July 1st, 2024. It's recommended the council support this bill. Mr. George, do you have any additional information on this, or council, do you have any comments, thoughts about this bill? Yeah, Councilmember Pompey.
Yeah, I don't know why we would support this bill or the bill following it, HB 0398. It makes no sense to take funds that are restricted for education and to unrestrict them, just to move them into a separate pot of money. Because even though they're saying they're going to use these funds to pay for the blueprint, after they could do whatever they want with that money once it's unrestricted. And frankly, once the blueprint is fully, implemented in 2031, we're going to be like, hey, what happened to all that money that we used to have restricted for education? It's going to be gone. And we're going to be, so basically we're just like sort of kicking the can down the road. We're trying to use money that the blueprint literally says that we can't use, because the goal of the blueprint is not to sort of pilfer money from our operational budget. It's to increase funding so that we can have more equity across the state.
I'll
say that also, sorry, PGCMA they are not supporting this bill. I believe they're taking no stand on it. The Prince George's County Board of Education are the board members. They are universally opposed to this, have written letters in opposition to this. And if you know anything about our Board of Education, the fact that they've all come together on anything is pretty, that's a big deal, that this is something that they're all universally opposed to. And also our teachers union, PGCEA, has also been lobbying very hard against this.
Yeah, that's correct, and you're bringing up some very important points. I do know that our county executive is actually brought these bills forward, and the assertion is that the flexibility, that the way that the legislation is written is it's too restrictive for them to be flexible and to respond to certain needs. So certainly, your points are. And the points of the teachers union and very well thought out. So I think we could just, if there's no motion, we can just take no action on this. County executive and I think several members, most of the county council, the teachers union is opposed to it. The
County
school board's
executive
opposed
didn't
to
write
it.
this. She didn't write to us and say support this. But who wrote this?
She did,
Is
in
this-
fact,
is
put
this
the
Mr.
legislation forward.
Harrington, or
No, it's not. It's
our city staff?
no, it's actually PGCMA and the teachers union.
They're opposing it, though.
Yes.
And this recommends that we support. I think that's Mr. Roberts' question, right?
Who is saying that we should
Well,
support this?
as I said a few minutes ago, the way that it's written is not necessarily the way that we proceed. So my recommendation is that we just don't take any action on it, don't support it.
Is there any reason to?
Oppose it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there, so it sounds like, Mr. George?
Yeah, my apologies. I didn't see this before it went into your packet. The staff recommendation was to oppose it. Much like some of the gambling revenues, they basically supplant, which really means that they can take the funding that was already assessed for the schools, and then they can use this revenue to take its place. And then if this revenue goes away, so I think it should be additive, not a subtraction. So, and that's my apology. I did not see this before it went into the packet, but both this bill and the next bill, staff was either suggesting the council take no action or that we recommend that you oppose because it does limit the funding for school systems.
If I could ask, why did PGCMA decide to take no position?
I think it's because there was really strong opposition to this bill from PGCMA. If you guys, those of you who attended the last in-person PGCMA meeting, if you recall, several of us stood up and spoke out against these bills. So I believe that is why we have not taken a position on it, because there were some who supported it, but there also were many who didn't. So, and I think there's also some political concerns as well.
Yes.
With if you, and I don't think that we need to get involved with this, but I don't believe this. This is not my personal belief, but there were some concerns that, if you support the bill or you oppose the bill, it's like you're sort of taking sides between the Board of Education and the County Council. Like, are you supporting the Board of Education or are you supporting the County Council? That's not my personal view on this. I mean, Prince George's County voters have voted again and again and again to restrict funding for education. We like that. We like having money designated just for education. We've seen it at the ballot box many times. So to me, opposition of this, we're supporting the voters. We're supporting what voters want. So, but that's my opinion. That's not, the opinion of everybody. So
Would someone like to make a motion?
Move that we write a letter opposing this.
Okay.
I
Is there a
second.
Okay, is there further discussion? We have some discussion from the public. Please, step to the middle. Also, I don't know if the advisory committee on education has thought about that.
Direction I think it's going into. I was going to ask the question, and I appreciated the clarification, well, I didn't understand it, from the assistant city manager, that they had intended to recommend opposition. My question was going to be, and then I'll sit down and look forward to the vote on the way the motion to oppose. My question is, who recommended that the council support? Somebody did, because it's.
Sir, I think that's a little,
Both items that city council, it's recommended to city council that it support. Someone did. I'd like to know who.
Yeah, thank you. So I think your question, you've asked that 2 or 3 times tonight, and I think it's a little irrelevant. I've already provided some explanation as to how council makes independent decisions. Staff has, we get information from various sources. So, I don't.
Recommended
Yeah, thank you, sir. I heard your
I
question.
would like to know who recommended approval.
It was a mistake. It wasn't staff intended to not recommend approval, so it was an error made on the agenda.
I appreciated that clarification a moment ago.
But
that's a pretty big mistake.
Sir,
If staff was
sir,
to recommend opposition,
sir.
and it translates to recommending approval, that's a fairly
Sir.
substantial mistake.
I was wondering, did the advisory committee on education have any thoughts, or did you hear about this bill?
Bob Snyder, Hillside Road. No, we haven't. We did not take this up at the last meeting we had in end of February, and I guess my opinion on that is kind of is what Councilmember Pompey was suggesting. It's sometimes it's better to just not support a flawed bill, than to support something that might help schools a little bit. It's, what I mean? It's like we've heard about often states have get approval for lotteries and all that kind of thing, and they always win approval from politicians or even from the public because they always state all the funds are going to benefit the schools, and sometimes we find out it doesn't really so much, and then what happens is sometimes people use that as an excuse to not fund the schools more separately, or individual, because they would refer to funds coming in from this other means, but that doesn't always occur. So I kind of would recommend that we not support this as well.
Okay, appreciate your perspective as a former teacher. So the motion is to oppose this PG 40724 as well as 40624, which also had to do with using sales and tax from telecommunications, from cell phones, I guess. So that's the motion?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor of opposing these 2 bills, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed to the opposition? It's unanimous. Let's send a letter opposing these two bills. The next bill, which it doesn't look like they've been cross-filed, but they're county bills. So the next bill has been cross-filed. It's House Bill 0513 and Senate Bill 0479. Motor Vehicles Work Zone Speed Control Systems revisions, and that's the Maryland Road Worker Protection Act 2024. This administration bill makes changes to state work zone speed control systems, work zone speed camera program. Specifically, the bill increases civil penalties for violations captured by work zone speed cameras. 2, alters the distribution of revenues collected from these penalties. 3, makes several clarifying, conforming, and technical changes to the program. And 4, establishes a reporting requirement for the State Highway Administration. The bill generally takes effect June 1st, 2024. However, provisions establishing higher penalties for subsequent offenses take effect January 1st, 2025. It's recommended that council support these bills. So there we have it. Is there a motion to support, oppose, or take no action on this? I know that I believe Delegate Healy may have actually been one of the people who introduced this bill. I would be inclined to not take a stance or even. Well, I don't know. Does anybody want to make a motion?
Can we just clarify? So what I'm reading here is that the fine, if you get a speed violation in a work zone, is going to be increased in the upcoming fiscal years. I just want to make to make sure people who are watching understand what the bill actually is and what we're voting for or against.
It also is going to modify the procedures, and I think what it has to do is posting speed camera cars sort of hidden behind work zones. There really aren't too many of these on the Beltway occasionally, and this is a measure that I think would make them far more common. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, well, and I think it's worth emphasizing also that it specifically looks like it talks about speed camera violations, not being pulled over by a police officer. That's probably on a different schedule, and it from $40 to $290. So it is a pretty big increase. But I think some of the rationale. I think one of the reasons they talk about it is that it's in a result of some pretty serious incidents with multiple deaths. Specifically, they say a March 2020 incident in which 6 roadway workers were killed. So, I think the purpose of these speed cameras is to slow people down and make the consequences of them not slowing down significant enough that they pay attention to it. I have to say that, $40 for not slowing down in a work zone when you've got people by the side of the road, that's barely a slap on the wrist. 290 is a lot. I'm not sure. I think certainly not in opposition. I don't know how I feel about this one entirely. I think the other thing that's notable is that it's 290 for a first or second offense in a calendar year, and then it ups to 1,000 for a third or subsequent offense. So it is really trying to ramp it up for people who are repeat offenders of speeding through work zones. But it is worth thinking about that the reason that this is being proposed is because people have been killed because of people speeding through work zones, and that's pretty significant.
Just wondering also, I'm sorry.
I think in some cases, the automated violation speed cameras, the fines can be regressive. It's not a progressive thing. While some people might be able to afford $290 or $1,000 for a violation, others it's different for different people. And I think for cab drivers and people that have to drive for a living, it could be devastating. It could be. I'm going to oppose this if there's a motion to take action at all, I would just rather not take action. It seems kind of draconian. How much the escalation was $1,000?
So first or second offense in a calendar year would be $290, and then a third or subsequent offense in a calendar year would be $1,000. Although, of course, people can just not speed, and then they don't have to pay for the speeding tickets.
Yeah, and certainly that is the case. It's just it is extremely regressive. So, Mr. Roberts.
Well, I think the problem here is that a lot of times they have, these zones set up, but it's not an active zone. There's no one out there working, but that camera is still giving out tickets. And that's why I'm voting against it, because that's just wrong, and they're using it just to suck money out of people. It's not doing what it should be doing. And that, so I'm not supporting it.
I'm actually agreeing with Mr. Roberts on this, but if there's no motion to do anything, council member.
I just wanted to point out that this, along with the red light cameras, gives a grace of 12 miles per hour. So that means that you can be going down Crescent at 37, 36. No, that's 11. And you'll be fine. So likewise, I think that grace of how much faster you can be going, I think it's worth saving a life.
Well, I don't think it's really Crescent. It's more the Beltway, and sometimes
The speed camera there.
I think with Mr. Roberts on weekends sometimes there'll be a speed zone. It's like 40, 30 miles per hour on the Beltway.
The
and they're there
cameras
over
that
the
we
weekend.
have in the city, they're only active at certain times. They're not active all the time. When they put these up on the highway, they're active all the time, whether there's a work crew there or not. And that's the problem I have. They need to be fair about it,
So, but is there a motion to support this with an amendment or?
Big jump in number from 40 to 290. And I agree with you. It's important to save lives. But,
Definitely, yeah.
But the jump from it, so I'm somewhat agreeing with Mr. Roberts are we collecting money? Like, what was the reason behind such a large increase? And then the second offense? Because if it's just to collect additional money,
Yes, Mr. Roberts.
Well, I think part of the problem that we have out there with people speeding in work zones and speeding everywhere is there's very little enforcement in general. We're only relying on these cameras. There's nobody out there, stopping people and giving them tickets. I ride a lot. I mean, I go up and down Route 1 all the time, and people are driving crazy. I mean, I'll be in a 30-mile-per-hour zone doing the speed limit. People just fly by you, whether it's a turn with double yellow lines or whatever. So we're allowing this whole thing to get out of control. People don't feel any responsibility towards anyone else on the road, and they're not being held accountable. So you just can't dole out a higher fine and think that people are going to stop doing this. It's a much larger problem that we're not addressing.
Yeah, and if I could, unfortunately, some of the horrific accidents that have occurred, in the past year or 2 years, it's actually been people driving stolen vehicles or vehicles with temporary tags that people where it's just wanton disregard for speed limits. So it's people who don't care about fines to begin with because they're not driving a legal vehicle. So if there's no motion, we can have a great discussion on this because it's an important thing, the safety of our construction workers and people on the highways and reckless driving and speeding. And, is our fines really is that really going to help? So we can have a long discussion about that. But if there's no motion, we can kind of move on.
Yeah, I think the reason we have the speed cameras and things is because we don't have enough officers to do that sort of enforcement. And so it is an attempt to curtail this, but it does seem like this is a pretty extreme change. I'm comfortable taking no action on this one.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to, this is also a cross-filed bill, but it's a related topic. House Bill 0601, Senate Bill 0442, and that's street racing and exhibition driving, prohibited acts, enforcement, and penalties. The bill increases penalties and points assessments for violations related to participation in racing and speed contests. The bill also establishes a statewide prohibition on exhibition driving on any highway or private property that is used for driving by the general public. By expanding application of an existing provision, the bill establishes a statewide prohibition on exhibition driving, racing, and other related activities in a special event zone. The bill would take effect June 1st, 2024, and the recommendation is that council support the bill. I'll make a motion that we do support the bill. I think street racing and exhibition driving, it's just out of hand. And we've seen instances where this has happened in Greenbelt. So is there a second? Okay. Is there discussion? Yes, please.
I'm just glad that we have the opportunity to support this. This has come up to me more often than any other thing that I've been talked to about as a council member. So I think this is something that our community is definitely behind as well.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah, that motion carries. This next one, House Bill 0924, Senate Bill 1126, Regional Transportation Authorities. This bill establishes 3 regional transportation authorities and related special funds to prepare and implement regional congestion relief plans for the Baltimore region, for the Capital Region, and for the Southern Maryland region. As those regions are defined in the bill specifies the duties and powers of each authority and requires each special fund to be used to finance transportation facilities in its respective region by July 1st, 2025. Maryland Department of Transportation, in consultation with the comptroller, must report to the General Assembly on the feasibility of creating a local option transportation revenue for the purpose of raising funds to provide revenue for the regional transportation authorities established in this bill. It's recommended. The recommendation is the council support. This is an interesting bill. I've received, and I believe Mayor Pro Tem and probably all of us have received some emails from the Coalition for Smarter Growth actually opposing this measure. They feel, if I could paraphrase, they're kind of piecemealing the transportation funding and sort of as the way that it's funded in Virginia. And but on the other hand, the bill is interesting because the sponsor is Delegate Ryan Spiegel, who is had been a longtime council person in the city of Gaithersburg and was in fact the president of MML 2 years ago. And so he definitely understands the need for greater authority and funding for parts of Maryland. And I think in writing this bill, he's specifically thinking about the 270 corridor in Gaithersburg. So it's a bit of a quandary for me. I certainly respect Cheryl Court and the folks over at the Coalition for Smarter Growth, but I know that Delegate Spiegel is very sensitive to the needs of municipalities. Mr. Roberts, I believe, actually had his hand up first. Mr. Roberts, please go ahead.
This is about widening our highways. That's what it is. This is Mr. Hogan's agenda here, that they want to continue with what they have started in widening all the highways, and the city council has vehemently opposed the widening of the Beltway and other highways around. So we're being told that we should support what we have fought against for years. And what is, supposed to be our basic thing of, protecting the environment. This is anti-environment and anti-community because they just want to pave us over. And that's what these regional authorities want to do. and they want to have control where they don't have control now. So this is a very, very bad bill for us and for other communities around the Beltway, because this is just going to let them go ahead and do what they want to do. So I hope, and I pray this does not pass. And I still, again, I want to know who is telling us we should support this. Who on the city staff is telling us this? This is the same as on this other bill back here, where, you know, who is telling us to support something that's against, you know, that's bad for us? I want to know who wrote this. What city staff member is telling us this? They haven't been here for the last however many years we've been fighting against the Hogan's widening plans and the maglev train and all that. I mean, this would even go into the maglev train dimension, because these authorities would be part of approving that. So you have pro-highway people that are also going to be pro-maglev. And this is extremely scary.
I would just respond saying that I think staff does their best to make recommendations, and then ultimately it's up to council, who may have more knowledge and more insight into things.
If staff doesn't have the knowledge about this, they shouldn't be making a recommendation, period.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, and I think my first thought when I saw the bill and it talked about congestion relief was you know, oh, they're talking about building more roads, which I think there is which is a fallacy of the induced demand that does not reduce congestion, in fact. And that was even before getting the letter from Cheryl Court and the Coalition for Smarter Growth. That was my first reaction was, no, this is not a good thing if their goal is congestion relief. It doesn't seem to be a broad enough mandate to actually, I mean, I think the idea of regional transit authorities for Baltimore or the Gaithersburg area and that sort of thing, that makes sense. But if you call it congestion relief, that limits it far too much. And I think the other points in the memo from which just came in today, yeah. So I think I forwarded it to council, and I forgot to forward it to you all until just now. So, but and it sounds like that is what has proved the case in Virginia. So I think that they have built a lot more lanes of highways, and also I think this is an important note. The funds used in Virginia have been used to avoid federal funds and having to meet federal environmental review requirements and alternatives analysis. So I think what we need are better options for public transit and alternatives, such as better bike infrastructure to get cars off the road. What we don't need is what is termed congestion relief, which is building more lanes. So I think we should either take no action or oppose this, in my opinion.
I'll make a motion to oppose this. Thank you.
Okay, and there's a second. I just want to say, I think we're misinterpreting what Mr. Delegate Spiegel is in Gaithersburg, the city of Gaithersburg, and you could probably ask Mr. Harris on TPB. I think what they want to do is have funding for bus rapid transit and other means. They don't want to widen the highway. They'd like to put a monorail or bus rapid transit from Gaithersburg and Germantown down to DC or up to Baltimore.
They don't need this bill to do that.
They wrote this bill. They wrote the bill. So I'm just saying,
Need this to do what
Mr.
you
Roberts,
said.
please.
That's all.
But there's a motion on the floor. Is there any other discussion? And the motion was to oppose the bill. I'm just saying, I actually spoke with Mr. Spiegel. It's for bus rapid transit. Please.
Then it should say that. Then it should talk more about public transit and less about congestion relief. Just saying.
Well, I mean, congestion, bus rapid transit, or rail is
not what it's about.
No, that is what it's about.
No,
Mr. Hartman, please.
Michael Hartman, 2 Court Garden Way. The fact is that there is very little, if any, public transportation in southern Maryland, or ways to get around there. Even in central Maryland, to get from here to Annapolis, for example, it's one little commuter bus.
Yes.
And so I think Mr. Roberts is correct that it may be that they say that they're going to build rapid transit, which is bad, but public transportation. But the fact is that once those things are established, there's no way to control them. And Council Member Weaver is correct that a lot of times that's what this means, that the solution would be to build more roads or to expand them in the completely wrong, historically wrong idea that that actually reduces congestion. So to oppose this would be very good because you don't know what those regional authorities will do once they get the authority to do whatever they do. Thank you.
Well said. Once again, in Southern Maryland, I think they're looking for a way to fund light rail to go to Charles County. So, I don't know, but let's, is there any further discussion? Let's go ahead and take a vote. All in favor? Please.
Yeah,
You seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'm going to oppose. But that passes. So, yeah, Mr. Roberts. So let's look at the next bill, which is House Bill 1059, Prince George's County, qualifying municipal corporation land use. By resolution, this would authorize a governing body of a qualifying municipal corporation by resolution to exercise the powers of the Prince George's County Planning Board, the zoning hearing examiner for Prince George's County, or the district council for Prince George's County to make specified land use decisions, subjugating the exercise of those powers to the substantive and procedural requirements and standards established in Prince George's County zoning ordinance, and providing for the judicial review of certain actions introduced in a previous session as House Bill 0892 back in 2012. Council direction. This is Delegate Holmes' bill, is that correct? This is the bill that would actually give some additional zoning and land use authority to municipalities in Prince George's County that have populations of 15,000 or above. From what I've been told and from what I know, there's little chance of this moving forward. But, you know, having additional land use and zoning authority is something that the city has fought for many years. So, you know, I think, and we actually already voted on this, I believe, to actually provide some support, but it was before PG 10524 moved ahead. So I'd like to make a motion that we actually support this. It's probably not going to pass, but we should support it. Is there a second?
Is this in the packet? I don't see.
The full text, I don't know if
It's not in the
is.
packet, so I don't know how to.
I think it was previously.
Mr. Roberts.
Well, what we need is we need our own planning and zoning authority. We do not need to be a mouthpiece for Prince George's County because that's all this is. They're not giving us anything. They're telling us we can do their job for them. That's all this is. You know, here, you can use what we tell you to use. That's not what we need. I think this really hurts our case for having our own planning and zoning authority. And this is not giving us anything, period. We need to oppose this motion.
And we did discuss it on February 12th. I don't remember.
I think we voted
I
to
think we may
support
have
it.
voted.
We
Yeah.
did.
So we
Yeah.
may not need to take, I don't know if we need to take.
We already took
additional-
action on it.
I think we already took
I don't
action
think
on it.
we actually wrote the letter, though. And
It hasn't had a bill hearing date assigned yet,
It
so that's
didn't,
probably
no.
why they haven't written it yet.
And it's probably not going to move forward, but it would actually give us more authority over signage, detailed site plans. And, you know, what happened with Royal Farm, if we had had the powers under this bill, we could have actually prevented the way that has gone to some extent. So, yeah, I just disagree based on reading and talking with legislators about
How's
what
it
this
going to
bill's
help us
about.
to have, this,
You don't, have you read the
it's
bill?
not going to help us at all.
So since we already voted on it without a number, let's write a letter and no additional action, I think is really required on this. And we already did the beverage container recycling fund bill, so that just about wraps it up for item number 13. Actually, that's item number 12. Item number 13, if there's no further discussion. Mr. Orleans, please.
Thank you. Bill Orleans still. I apparently was mistaken earlier. I presume since it has been 6 or 8 weeks that council voted to retain the services of Carrington and Associates, that this might reflect his first contribution to council's consideration. And obviously I'm wrong. It's been pointed out to me. I'm wrong. I'm happy I'm wrong. But that raises the question, if in fact it's been 6 or 8 weeks that council has retained his services, when might we expect delivery of his first report to council as to what council should be, how council should be thinking with regard to either council introductions or introductions in the General Assembly? When may we know he's working?
Thank you.
When may we know?
Thank you, sir. So staff is getting information from Mr. Carrington. Staff is getting information from the Prince George's County Municipal Association Legislative Committee. Staff is getting information from the Maryland Municipal League Legislative Committee. Staff is also getting information from the National League of Cities.
And I'm grateful that staff and the
Thank you.
council are benefiting from work done by the National League of Cities and the Maryland Municipal League and also the PGCMA. These were all suggested as ongoing alternatives to the retention of a new legislative consultant, but council nonetheless went ahead and voted to retain a legislative consultant, Mr. Carrington and his associates. I'm just
did you have
wondering,
a
when is he
question,
going to
sir?
deliver his first work product to the city?
He's already communicating with staff. Thank you, sir.
Then if I may simply make a suggestion, and it's only a suggestion, council doesn't have to adhere to this, obviously. In the future, when there are either county bills and or House and or Senate bills that council is considering whether it should support or oppose or take no action on, it would be useful for the public, and I think maybe some members of council, to know whether the recommendation of approval or opposition or taking no action is coming from MML, the NLC, PGSMA, or
Thank
Gerald
you.
Carrington and Associates.
So let me just quickly say this. Staff gets information, council gets information from a number of sources. So decisions about whether to recommend approval, support of a measure is weighed. It's not necessarily coming from one source. So it's while it might be nice to simplify things, did so and so recommend this? You know, yes, they may have stated some reservations, but staff considers a number of sources, as does council. It's as simple as that. Mr. Roberts, please.
Well, I don't think that Mr. Carrington should be making recommendations on any bills. I think he should let us be aware of bills that we may be concerned about. He should not be chiming in as to whether it's good or bad for us, because he's not representing our citizens. And so there you go. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to move on to the next agenda item. Any other comments from council? Okay. So item number 13, I would like to make a motion to donate a Greenbelt flag to the county library. You know, through Black History Month and really throughout the year, there are so many community events held in the auditorium of the Greenbelt Library. It's a large room. Homeowners associations, Charleston North has used the room a number of times. And you go in, and there's 3 flags. There's a United States flag, as we have here. There's a Prince George's County flag. There's a Maryland flag, of course. But there's no Greenbelt flag. So I would like to actually donate a flag to them and to have there in the auditorium. Since there are so many Greenbelt events there, I think it would just be a nice gesture. It's a simple thing. It's not very expensive. So I'd like to make that motion. I don't know if anybody would like to second it.
I'll second.
A flag or just, or a flag and a flag pole?
Poll as well, a
Okay,
poll,
just to make sure we're clear on what we're voting on.
Yes, yeah. I'm glad I could be helpful, clear. So-
Well, you know, our standing rules do say there should be background information just in the agenda.
I actually shared that with staff. I did say, yes, poll and a stand too. So I don't know why it's not here in the, but I did specifically say that. So let's have a discussion about it.
Talk to the library about what they would like.
Well, not specifically. I have a feeling that they will take it and put it in the auditorium. And if they don't, we could probably use it someplace else in the city. But I think it'd be a nice gesture.
Discussion with library staff prior, just to make sure we're ordering the correct things that match what they currently have. would be
I could
important.
take that as a friendly amendment, but yeah, I think it'll be okay. I think they'll
Okay.
put it there.
I'm reading between the lines. Okay.
Did anyone say somebody
I think
seconded it?
Jenny, did you second it? Second it, yeah.
Oh, right.
And I will support it as long as we check with the library first.
Oh, very good, very good. Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that carries. So that's going to move us to the next item on the agenda, meetings, discussion of summer meeting schedule. Greenbelt City's Council standing rules already allow for a single regular meeting in July on the second Monday of the month rather than both of the second and fourth Mondays in most months. Extending that policy to include not scheduling any council work sessions during the last 2 or 3 weeks of July, unless an emergency arises, would allow for a break and scheduling of vacations for both council members and relevant city staff. In addition, the National League of Cities Summer Board and Leadership Meeting has been scheduled for the latter half of July the last several years. Exact dates not announced, and this will take one or more council members out of travel during the period. All other scheduled breaks, now we can make sure any necessary or non-emergency business requiring a meeting is taken care of in the first half of July, and that it can wait until our first meeting in August. I have to tell you that it was announced that that it's going to be in June.
It was announced that it is actually June this
June,
year.
yeah,
So
June
that is
11th,
but it is true that the last 2 years it had been in July.
That's true, and I don't know why they moved it forward as a scheduling thing. It actually would work out better in July.
Maybe the weather's better in Rancho Cordova.
I mean, June versus July, I'm not sure it makes that much difference in that part of California, but.
So, this last week was a good example of what sometimes happen where, staff is working really hard to schedule a work session on a topic and it falls through. So we didn't meet last week at all. Now, granted, there's always a ton of things to be done just with community events and being out and talking with the various advisory boards. And, some of us go to community meetings and hearings and things on the weekend. So it's very busy, especially this time of year, throughout the year. I'm concerned. I feel like with the new council, having Councilmember Niesel join us on the council, it's been about a month and a half. So certainly, one council meeting, but I hate to constrain things too much. I know people need vacations, and sometimes folks can't make it to the council meetings. But on the other hand, when staff is able to arrange a work session, one that they've been working on for a long time, one or two council members' schedules shouldn't really, prevent us from trying to get stuff done. So I'm kind of torn by this. I appreciate that people wanted to be able to take a block of time out for vacation. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, please.
Well, I think this is about a certain amount of work-life balance, that it's really important to have a designated period because if we just leave it open and, for example, that there may be a work session and there may not be, then you can't plan ahead for things that take pre-planning, purchasing plane flights, all that sort of thing. And I think that it is becoming a very common and recognized thing in many different groups. I mean, I saw in my at NASA Goddard, there is a whole designated week in March that is a no meeting week. And someone who is the former director of Earth Science, who was planning a leadership meeting that week, moved it to the next week because it was a designated no meeting week. And they took it very seriously to say now that's not forcing people to go on vacations during that time, but I think this is something that if we plan for it now, and I apologize, my phrasing in there I think got convoluted. I was probably doing it in too much of a hurry. I think it's important that we set aside a time and say, unless any emergency comes up, we won't have work sessions during that time, because the truth is it's just a work-life balance thing, and setting that time aside now and allowing staff to take vacation and knowing there will not be something that comes up that needs to be prepared for. And we can do things before or we can do things after. And the truth is that most other municipalities do a break like this, and most of them do not have as many meetings as we do. And I think we should get away from the idea that we need to have 2 meetings a week just because that's the way we've always done it. We should have very deliberative reasons for why we have meetings, and make sure that we are being conscious about making choices about when we are not setting aside time to not have meetings, for us, for staff, for everybody. That's my opinion.
I can appreciate no meeting week. We really have not been having a whole lot of meetings, since November. And with the budget coming up,
After the budget,
yeah, it is. It's the only time we really have after the budget to get some stuff done. So, given the fact, I do think several of us are going to go to the leadership meeting. I know I have to in June. The Maryland Municipal League conference is in July. So given this change, do you want to take the month off, or what did you want to do?
Well, the Maryland Municipal League is June, and so we could think about a different time frame if that made more sense. But some of those earlier time frames, the problem is that where the leadership conference is before school gets out, so that's not going to be particularly helpful for those council members who might need to work around school vacations. The Maryland Municipal League, I believe, is the 23rd through the 26th, so that doesn't fall there. I think we can be more efficient about our meetings. I would point out, for example, when Councilmember Pompey met with the library about the
Tugwell room.
Yeah, the Tugwell room. That's exactly the sort of thing that we can do to not have to wait until we schedule a work session to get things done and get information and bring it back to the council, and that information got distributed to the city via our social media channels. So I agree that there's, unfortunately, the way that NLC has set the timing, it doesn't quite work as well. But the reason July made sense to me is, we already say we're not having a regular meeting. It is a common time for vacations. August doesn't work as well because school starts earlier. I would say if we just do 2 weeks, the week of the 15th and the week of the 22nd, and then we can resume having regular work sessions the 29th, if that's the case. I think we can figure out how to do work, how to do the people's work without being here 24/7, which is something that I always worried about my beloved colleague, Mr. Gordon, that he pushed himself too hard. And
Mr. Roberts, please.
Well, I don't think that the vacation thing is kind of, to me, doesn't mean much because I never take a vacation. I'm self-employed. I got to take a day off. Okay, I'll take a day off, but I can't go away for a week or 2 weeks or something like that. There's no way. I got responsibilities and kitty cats to feed and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not, running away in July. And I don't see the need to do this. I think we need to have as much, my main problem is, what you're talking about, having a single council member go here or there or whatever. I think that's a bad idea because it should be the whole city council that makes decisions, not one.
Make a decision. That's
Well-
not what we're talking about, though.
Well, but, if you have just one council member go out and have a discussion with Prince George's County or anyone else, that's kind of leaving everybody else out. And
Not if you read your email, Mr. Roberts.
well, it is because, we had citizens that wanted that information and it wasn't so easy for them to get it. So that's a problem, but we're supposed to be a council of one, a council where everyone has a say. And if you start, splitting it up into little bits, that causes a problem because people are going to get left out. Because, okay, I went out here, I talked to them, this is what they said or whatever it is. That's just one person when it should have been the whole city council has a discussion about the Tugwell room or whatever it may be. It should be a council discussion, not a one council member discussion, because we all have one vote here and we all need to be a part of all the discussions. That's the problem. We all need to be a part of all of the discussions, not, a little bit of the discussion. So I don't know about, if you want to not have a meeting on a particular week, you can do that, but I don't think we should make a motion saying we're absolutely not going to work, have a meeting in July or whatever it is. I think it's just carrying it a little too far. I think if you get on the city council, you got a responsibility to go to the meetings. If you didn't want to go to the meetings, don't get on, don't run. 32 years, I've never missed a single city council meeting here. Not one vote, not one city council meeting here. So maybe I do see it differently because I think there's a responsibility for us to be here.
Well, maybe there's some middle ground. I don't have a problem with a week or two. Yes, please.
I'd say that taking a bit of time over the summer is also not just looking at it from a council's point of view. It's also looking at it from our city staff's point of view. It's also looking at it from a resident's point of view. So if we're trying to look at also increasing engagement and bringing more people, engaging people and making sure that they are understanding what's going on at council meetings, summertime is often a time when families take vacations. And July is a time when parents are out and they're taking kids to summer camps and away to see grandma and grandpa. And so that's often a time when you don't see a lot of people. So that time frame, if we were looking at all of the different time frames, is one where that typically is a time when people do take a break. So I would be in favor of looking at something like that during the July time. I'm not sure what that time frame would be, but I would also say from a council's point of view, our responsibilities are not just about coming to council meetings, as Mr. Roberts is indicating. We are also going to committee meetings. We're also going to National League of Cities. We're also going to events. So all of us it's not just 1 or 2 council meetings a week. It's 4, 5, 6, 7, sometimes, often many of those. And I know many of us are doing a lot of those events. So I also think that being a responsible council member is also about being able to take a pause so that you can be able to respond in the most effective way possible. And taking that pause often allows us to get in touch and talk with people so that we can come back and be informed.
Wish, and I didn't say this before, Miss Pope, there's a death in her family, so she's not with us tonight. And it'd be nice if she could weigh in. She's dealing with some things. So You know, if you want to take a couple of weeks off, okay, I really would like to have the flexibility beyond just if it's emergency. I just know that over the past few months, we've not really had a chance to come back after reconvene after our very brief retreat. I know that the business community, the economy, just looking at what's going on in our city, there's some things we need to be very mindful of. There are issues, and there's not a lot of time. So between now and passing the budget, you know, I don't have the calendar in front of me. I don't think they're really. Let's see. And I had asked if we could have, just looking at the budget work session calendar, I still think we need to kind of take a real close look at this and see if there's an opportunity to consolidate any of these sessions. But we really don't have a lot of flexibility. I don't see any.
Between now and the budget season, so that's before June. Is that correct?
Looking at the next month into April, but knowing through June, I don't really have something in front of me going to, just based on my previous experience, I know that we don't have a lot of open work sessions unless for the retreat coming together. And I think we do need to come together and talk about council goals. There's a lot of things we need to deal with, and that our residents will think about what we're going to do with the charter. Just a lot of issues, a lot of things we have to do. And of course, in September, the Labor Day festival, and just a lot of stuff around school time. So I'm just, is there a particular? Do you want to make a motion? But I'm not really supportive of taking a month off.
I wasn't proposing a month off.
Okay, but you did say no meeting week, but you weren't really proposing a week. So what exactly?
Well, I would like to know what the appetite is on the rest of council, because I'm not trying to impose anything. I think at least 2 weeks. I think we could do more than that if we thought it was appropriate. But I, as it says, I think so. One option would be our regular meeting in July is July 8th. So one option would be the week of the 15th and the week of the 22nd. If we wanted to do 3 weeks, also the week of the 29th, and then we resume again basically the first week of August. If that feels like too much, then perhaps the week of the 15th and the 22nd, or the 22nd and 29th. And that would give us some time that we have those 2 weeks off. We have finished the budget by the beginning of June. We have some of June. We have the beginning of July for those issues that we didn't get to during the budget, although I hope we have a discussion of follow-up on the
also following up any reallocations we need to
right.
do.
Well, those have to be regular meetings anyway, so that's not affected by this, because I'm not changing the number of regular meetings based on what our standing rules already said. This is only related to work sessions. And right now, our standing rules say that our only regular meeting in July is the 8th. So are there thoughts, 15th and 22nd, week of 22nd and 29th? Are there preferences from council before I make a motion?
Well, I don't know. I'm not going to, get into a long discussion or fight over 2 weeks. But this idea of only having one regular meeting in July and not having the flexibility, if we need to, having a second meeting to take actions, I just think we need flexibility, and just looking at staff and what they're able to schedule, and when things fall through, I think the flexibility is good. So if you're going to make a motion.
That's not something I made up. That's something that's already in our standing rules.
Yes, I know.
So I was actually hoping to hear from others about their preferences, because you've already spoken.
Well, thank you. Ms. Niesel.
I am very impressed by Councilmember Roberts' dedication and being here at every meeting. I will tell you that if there are meetings scheduled throughout all of July, I will sadly have to be absent, because I will prioritize taking a vacation with my family. And I think that those last 2 weeks, I hear that we're not really comfortable with 3. I think that the weeks of the 15th and the 22nd, going to Councilmember Weaver's points about lots of people are on vacation during that period anyways, it does make a bit of sense to mesh a break for council together. And I also think it's important to note that during Women's History Month, you have women on council stating that a break is necessary, and 2 men on council stating that a break isn't. And I think it's interesting, because there is a lot of work that falls into being a woman in today's society, and a break from that is certainly nice. A vacation is important for mental health.
Other thoughts? 15th, week of the 15th and the 22nd. Does that seem reasonable?
We do have a comment from the public. I don't know if anybody, is anybody online?
There hasn't been many people online tonight at all.
Okay, Doreen Stowe. Each member of council, elected or selected, sought service on council. I believe I know at least one person in Greenbelt, not me, who would very much appreciate if council never met. I would disagree with that person as to the importance of council meeting. But when council meets and one or more of you, sometimes it's more than one, can't be here for some reason, I don't see anybody with pitchforks going after that absent member of council, demanding to know why they weren't present at the last meeting. Obviously, if there's an illness or a death in the family, or if you have a regular trip abroad at a given time of the year, we know from experience that you'll go ahead and do it. I'll fault you for it, but probably no one else in town will do that. So saying that I need a break from regular meetings twice a week, even in the summer, when you didn't say when you were asking for votes, yes, I'll meet when I want to meet, but I won't meet on a regular basis because my service on council is a service to myself and not to the residents. You didn't say that. That's not why people voted for you. I'd like to point out something not necessarily on the immediate calendar, but on the last page, ready to be scheduled and for later scheduling. Now, some of you will have tired of hearing me say this in the past, but some of you probably will never have heard me say this. For later for scheduling, there's a meeting, a work session to be scheduled. It actually at one point was ready to be scheduled, but at this point it's for later scheduling. There's a meeting that's ready to be scheduled that we should have scheduled that's actually been on this column or the other column, ready to be scheduled, since 2009. This is 2024. That meeting is the meeting with the county on the transportation plan. That was 2 transportation plans ago and 3 county transit plans ago. To suggest to me, and I think the other residents of the city of Greenbelt, that there's no need for council to meet when they might rather be having a picnic somewhere and otherwise taking a break for some reason is rather silly. Your service on council is to the residents of the city of Greenbelt, not to yourselves.
Thank you very much. I would like to be able to discuss what the Vision 2025 plan with the TPB. I don't think we need to look at that and think about it. But are you going to make a motion? Or?
Yes, I will make a motion, although I would like to point out to Mr. Orleans that I believe most Greenbelt residents recognize that they voted for human beings and not city council automatons, whose only responsibility and only things they are doing in life is city council. Perhaps Mr. Orleans doesn't recognize that, but I would like to propose that we have a city council hiatus the weeks of March, or not March, July 15th and July 22nd, and not schedule any city council work sessions during those 2 weeks, barring an emergency situation arising.
Now, who seconded that?
I will. Second.
Okay.
Diesel.
You sure? Okay. Well, let's go ahead and take a vote. Let's make this a voice vote, though. Madam Clerk?
Aye. Yes.
Bobby?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. Oh, the motion carries. Man. Okay. Well, let's see. What else do we need to do tonight? Oh, council activities. Lots of stuff going on. I didn't get a chance to update that list. Anybody want to just, we're down at the National League of Cities conferences. Interesting day today. President Biden was there, and he talked about the American Rescue Plan. He talked about reauthorizing keeping the government open. It's a very, very interesting, stimulating opportunity to talk with council members from all across the country.
So I can pull up what we have on the council activities. I know you haven't had a chance to put things in there yet, but I'm trying to remember. Were you at the Tower Road bus screening, Mayor Jordan?
No, I had to go to the Maryland Mayor's Conference.
So there's some of the things. Thank you, Ms. Niesel, for attending the Air Quality Committee as the alternate since I was not available that day. I think one thing I will note, I went to the public art workshop, the glass art installation for Motiva, the workshop they did at Washington Glass Studio. It was a lot of fun. We got to break bottles that they're turning into recycled glass for the art installation, and it was very cool. I think it's going to be beautiful. I don't know if anybody wants to make any other comments about any of the rest of these.
I would just say, just a thank you to the Greenbelt Police. Ms. Pompey and I attended the Police Citizens Academy, the first session of that, and was very, very informative. And just there are a lot of citizens who are participating in this right now. And I just think it's a really great opportunity to understand what our police do and the kinds of challenges that they face, and then the ways that we can connect better with them.
Sounds really interesting. I'd love to participate in that. I haven't been able to. I've been just doing a lot of things on the state level. I did on the 27th, I did a Maryland Municipal League webinar and presented on Greenbelt's ARPA activities. And there's a recording of that. If anyone wants to go back and take a look at that. In the mayor's meeting in Annapolis, had a chance to talk with the governor, had a chance to, with the other District 22 mayors, I had a chance to meet with Senator Washington and talk with each of our delegates, and just looking forward to that legislative dinner.
What dates were the mayor's meeting?
It was the 29th and the 30th. We were there, and we had a reception at the governor's house right when that lockdown happened. We were actually locked down in the governor's house for about 2 hours. So it was kind of scary. But I've got some more things, and I'll enter them in. So we're meeting on Wednesday, and we'll be talking about the Northway Field gate security measure. And are there any council reports? We could do those on Wednesday. We can talk about the calendar a little bit more on Wednesday. And we're doing really well. It's 9:20 right now. So at this point,
Hey, it's going to be offended that we have finished this meeting so early and it's not one that he was attending.
Okay. Well, if there's no others, I'd like to go ahead and close the meeting. Can I have a motion, please?
To adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.